What's up everybody, welcome back to Ask Dan Anything yet again, and today we're going to have an honesty based question from my bro E-Man. The question basically is straight up lying ever okay? And in this particular example we're looking at safety. So I'll try and give you E-Man's story as briefly as possible. So what he's saying is he's lived in some dangerous cities. He says he encounters scary looking, dangerous looking people ask him for money, and his automatic response is to say, I don't have any, which isn't true. He does when he says this. And he's trying to walk away, trying to avoid further contact with them. He knows he's lying about having any money technically, but he's heard stories that these people will attack him or something if they find out he has money. And so his instant reaction is to avoid them as quickly as possible. So he believes the obvious answer is yes, you can lie if you're in danger, or if your family's in danger. Is it okay to sacrifice your integrity? I remember I was reading Sam Harris's book Lying, and one of the key honesty questions that comes up is, what if it's 1940 or something, 1942, and you're hiding Jews in your basement and some SS soldiers come to ask if there's Jews there? Would you say yes? So we're going to have a look at this kind of example, this idea that should you lie to protect yourself? Because I think most of the time the answer is no. I'm going to explain that. So E-Man says, I've also had thoughts of a robber breaking into my house, asking me where my family is because he's going to shoot them. I automatically think of lying. Not sure why these scary thoughts popped up. I've got some ideas about that too. So, The first thing I want to point out is that you assume dishonesty protects you. In these situations where you've been approached by a dangerous person or somebody's asking you a question, you're worried how they're going to react to the answer, you think that your safety will be enhanced by lying. Now this shows a very interesting assumption. It shows the assumption that you think that they're going to take your word for what you say and act accordingly. So if someone wants to rob you and you say, I've got no money, they'll go, oh, well, I guess there's no point in robbing him now. I'm sure as soon as you hear me reflect this back, you realize the fallacy in that. They don't believe you. Dangerous people, criminals, and I've worked with them for almost a decade. They are surrounded by liars all day, every day. If they're in gangs or if they're on the streets and they're involved in a lot of crime, then everyone around them is lying all the time. They get pretty good at picking up on lies. So your first assumption that they believe you is incorrect. The second one is you think they're asking you this question because that your answer will decide whether or not they attack you. It's not your answer that decides, it's how you answer. And what I mean by that, it's not whether or not you're honest or dishonest, exactly. It's whether or not you're an easy mark. Now one of the things I learned about working with guys who assault and rob people for a living, hitmen for gangs, all the kind of guys I used to work with whose sole job was to beat up and steal and so on. What they disclosed to me over the years was how they choose their victims, and it's all about weakness. They have an animal instinct for it. They smell when someone's going to be easy. See, these guys, they're not looking for a challenge. They're not like, okay, who's the trained kickboxer? I'll go rob him. Who's the guy who's real sure of himself and heavily armed? I'll go rob him. No, they're looking for the guy who, as soon as they start intimidating, throwing punches, this guy's going to fold like a deck chair. That's the guy they want. So if you think that's what they're looking for, and they're very good at spotting it, they're looking for the guy who's going to be afraid of them, the guy who's going to give in and submit and be easy to deal with. Do you really think you shamefully pretending that you've got no money and scurrying off like a frightened rabbit is going to protect you? The key here is it's not so much about whether you're being honest or dishonest, though dishonesty shows that you're trying to protect yourself, which shows that you're afraid of them, which shows that you're probably an easy mark. And it's not even the fear that's an issue, it's what honesty would do in this situation. If you were to say, like, yes, but I've got nothing to spare, and you just coldly, calmly walk off, what you're saying to them is, I'm not an easy mark. I'm not afraid of you knowing what's going on with me, because I can handle myself. I will protect myself. I don't need to hide behind anything. Your insecurity, as demonstrated by your little lies to protect yourself, is actually what's going to provoke attack, not you having money or not. So to kind of broaden this out into a larger, I guess, more general application, is honesty can be a way to protect yourself because it shows confidence. When somebody's honest with somebody who's threatening, it's discombobulating for them. And I remember I used to use this technique to work with guys who were trying to threaten and intimidate me when I worked in corrections. I'm not a big guy, and I suck at martial arts. Like, most of these guys would definitely smash me. And I realized when I went into prisons and worked there, and I watched the guys who ran the place, they weren't the biggest, strongest guys. And it used to always baffle me. I'm like, how do these guys run this shit when, I can spot 6 other guys who could kick their ass? And slowly but surely over time, what I saw was confidence. I mean, the first time I walked into a prison as a corrections employee, all the guys yelled at me and gave me heaps of shit through the bars and threatened me and stuff, and I was shitting myself. Because when I first started working at corrections, I had no certainty in myself. I would have been the guy who says, no, sorry, I don't have any money. 7 years later, when I'd walk into a prison, there'd be nothing. There's nothing about me that would provoke them into doing that. They just kind of saw right through me. They weren't interested in me. And yet if I was taking someone new through, they'd be giving the new guy shit. And I realized something had changed in myself. And the key is I'd spent 7 years being brutally honest with guys like this. 7 years of telling them that they had to go back to jail. 7 years of giving them brutal truths about my opinions on their behavior and so on and so forth. A lot of stuff that really provoked them. And I was doing so unapologetically. I understand I built this up over time. Initially I was very intimidated by them, and I built this up over time. I'm not even sure where I'm really going with this, but what I've learned is that little deceitful behavior where you pretend to be doing something in order to protect yourself, like when you cross the road to avoid the scary looking guy, pretending that you're going to that other shop, or when you pretend to be on your phone so that you don't have to engage with someone, or when you look away like you're interested in something so you don't have to make eye contact. Those are all little acts of dishonesty, aren't they? You're pretending. And what those acts do is they're going to provoke someone who's looking to attack you. So the guy who asks you for money, he's already decided. He's already decided. So if he isn't attacking you, he's not going to. If he's going to attack you, he will. There's very little you can do about it at this stage, because if he's an attacker, he's been watching you. He's been assessing you as you've walked up. He's taken his time. He doesn't randomly pick someone out of a crowd. That's very unlikely, very rare. These guys don't want a challenge. And when you're protecting yourself with this pretense and this dishonesty, you're saying, I'm an easy target. I do not believe in my ability to handle myself. On this note, I do believe honesty, not only is it a strategy to protect yourself, but it's also a way to develop confidence. So as I was working with these guys, being more honest with them and blunt and direct and holding what I believe to be true and not backing down, actually created confidence in myself in the moment, and got to the point where I could walk around dangerous streets and stuff and hold my head high, walk slowly, like I own the place, like I live there. And what was really interesting is once I started behaving like this, all the troubles I used to get just disappeared. People don't give me shit on the street anymore like they used to when I was younger. And it's not because I'm a strong, tough guy. It's not because I'm some sort of black belt. It's because I believe in my right to be there. There's nothing for me to hide, and there's nothing for me to hide behind. And I understand after so many years of working with these guys that any little act you do to try and protect yourself before they've done anything, all that does is scream, I'm an easy target. So I don't know if that helps you, but my simple answer to the question is, if you think lying is going to protect you, most of the time you're probably wrong. That doesn't mean you have to reveal everything. You can be silent, you can ignore people, that's fine. That's an honest act. If you don't want to talk to someone, you don't talk to them. That's honesty. You even responding to someone you don't want to respond to is an act of dishonesty. So have a think about that and think, if I wasn't scared of these guys, how would I behave? And then behave as if, and you'll see the difference. If you guys have any other questions, especially about lying, I love questions about lying, send them through to dan@brojo.co.nz. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And of course, if you want to break this down even further, go check out my book, Nothing to Lose. And I'll see you guys later.